It's lights out and away we go.
Hello everyone, welcome to our podcast.
We are your hosts, Harshit Das.
And Ashish Panda.
It's a new podcast on F1 Motorsport.
We are going to cover everything related to F1 world.
So sit back and enjoy listening to us.
Hello Harshit, how are you and how is the pandemic going for you?
Well, for me, the pandemic is fine and I'm coping with it, but it surely has disrupted a lot of things and a lot of families around the world.
Well, I can totally relate to you. It's been difficult to adjust to the whole thing immediately, but it's going well and I hope everything comes back to normal. So Harshit, let's get to the main topic. How was the F1 2021 season for you?
Well, I've loved this season. It was a perfect mix of controversies as well as close races between the main title contenders, and even the experts say it to be one of the best seasons to go down in the history of F1. That was from my side, but I would really like to know your thoughts about the 2021 season as well.
Well, this F1 season was filled with numerous highlights of glory, drama, and controversies. But overall, it was a good season, and congratulations to Max Verstappen for his first World Drivers' Championship. But I hope FIA improves its rules and regulations.
Yeah, that would really help in stopping these unnecessary controversies. Well, we gave our thoughts about the last season, but should we let our listeners know what got us into the sport, the world of F1, in the first place? So, Ashish, why don't you go first?
Well, I started watching F1 because of the uncertainty in the race and the adrenaline rush it brings in. There's a very healthy competition among the racers, and the crazy fast cars are always a joy to watch. And after watching numerous highlights of races, I was hooked. So tell me about how did you get into F1 motorsport?
Well, it was mainly because of Lewis Hamilton. And guys, don't get me wrong, in no way that makes me biased to Lewis Hamilton. It was just that he was the most prominent figure, so I started with Lewis Hamilton. It all started with me watching a couple of videos of his and his races on YouTube, and slowly I started getting interested. And it was just a matter of time before I knew I was too deep into F1 motorsport. The speed, the adrenaline, and the crazy technological advancements that they make in terms of car development satisfies my heart as a motorsport fanatic. And just seeing how these drivers perform on the top level, race in and race out, is the best feeling.
Yes, it's the best feeling. Then let's introduce our fellow fanatics about the F1 world and how it all started.
Yeah, sure. I'll go first. I would like to start from the origins of F1. It has its roots in the European Grand Prix Championships, tracing all the way back to the pioneering road races in France in 1890s.
Damn, its origins are so far back. I have heard that in the 1920s and 1930s, legends such as the great German teams Otto Union and Mercedes-Benz and Italian Tazio Nuvolari ruled the Grand Prix Championship.
Yeah, they were the early kings of this race, but it wasn't until after the World War II when Formula One was defined as the premier single seater racing category in worldwide motorsport, and that became effective in 1950.
Wow, it's been 72 years since F1 Championships officially started, and the first race was held on May 13 at the Great Silverstone Circuit in the UK. A scoring system was established, and 7 races were deemed suitable for the World Championship.
And as we know, the Italians were the successors in these early World Championship races, both manufacturers and drivers. And the first world champion was the great Giuseppe Farina driving an Alfa Romeo.
He's a legend, man. And do you know that after Ferrari appeared in the second race at Monaco, they have the distinction of being the only manufacturer who has competed throughout the history of the sport?
Yes, they have been the ultimate performers, keeping the Italian motorsport legacy alive.
Well, Harshit, I have heard that the original naming of Formula One races was different from the ones that we see today.
Yes, it's really a joke when you think about it. Initially, Formula One was known as Formula A, and the subsequent series came to be called as Formula B. But then the series got recognized as Formula 3 instead of C, so they ended up changing the name of every series to Formula 1, 2, and 3 as we know it today.
Never thought that the history behind the naming was so simple. Well, guys, that was just the beginning. Then came some really defining eras of Formula One that have made it into the sport as we see it today. We will talk about those some other day.
Indeed, F1 has a vast history and it will be really difficult fitting it all into one. So it's time to wrap it up, guys. We had a great time discussing about the start of this great sport, but there is a lot left of the history to cover. And don't you get worried, we'll be covering all of it in the subsequent episodes.
And with the new season around the corner, There is more coming, so stay tuned.
Meet you guys in the next one.